There's something unsettling about the moment you realize you're watching yourself think. You're sitting there, lost in some random thought, and suddenly you become aware that you're thinking. But who's doing the watching? Who's the one noticing the thoughts? And if you can observe your own mind, then what exactly are you? This isn't just philosophical rambling. This is the edge of something profound that most people never fully grasp. You are simultaneously the observer and the observed. You are the watcher and the watched. You are the one experiencing and the one aware of the experience. And this paradox, this strange loop of consciousness, changes everything once you really understand it. But here's where it gets weird. The more you try to pin down who's doing the observing, the more elusive it becomes. It's like trying to see your own eyes without a mirror. You can look outward all day long, but the one doing the looking remains invisible to itself. Yet it's always there, always present, always aware. Today we're going to dive deep into this mystery. We're going to explore what it means to be both the observer and the observed, why this understanding can completely transform how you experience reality, and how recognizing this fundamental truth about consciousness can free you from patterns that have been running your life without you even knowing it. Most people live their entire lives identified with their thoughts, their emotions, their stories about themselves. They think they are their thoughts. They believe they are their feelings. They assume they are the voice in their head that never stops talking. But what if I told you that you are none of these things? What if you discovered that you are the space in which all of these experiences arise and pass away? This isn't some mystical concept reserved for monks on mountaintops. This is the most practical, immediate, and accessible truth about your existence. Right now, as you're listening to these words, there's an awareness present that's witnessing everything. It's witnessing the thoughts that arise in response to what you're hearing. It's witnessing any emotions that might surface. It's witnessing the very act of listening itself. That awareness, that witnessing presence, is what you truly are. Everything else is just content arising within that awareness. Your thoughts are not you. They are objects appearing in your consciousness. Your emotions are not you. They are temporary states moving through your awareness. Your body is not you. It's a collection of sensations being witnessed by the observer that you are. But here's the beautiful paradox. You are not separate from what you observe. The observer and the observed are one. The awareness and the content of awareness are not two different things. They are different aspects of the same reality, like the ocean and its waves, like space and the objects within it, like the mirror and the reflections it contains. This understanding isn't just intellectually interesting, it's practically revolutionary. When you realize that you are the observer, not the observed, you stop being at the mercy of your thoughts. You stop being controlled by your emotions. You stop being defined by your circumstances. You recognize that all of these things are temporary appearances in the permanent awareness that you are. Think about it this way. When you're dreaming at night, you might be terrified by a monster chasing you, but the moment you wake up, you realize that you were never in danger. The monster was just a creation of your mind. The fear was real as an experience, but it had no power over the one who was dreaming. You were always safe, always free, always beyond the drama of the dream. Waking life is remarkably similar. The problems that seem so real, the emotions that feel so overwhelming, the thoughts that appear so important, they're all just temporary appearances in the space of awareness that you are. They come and go like clouds in the sky, but the sky itself remains unchanged. But wait, there's more to this than just philosophical comfort. When you truly understand that you are the observer, you begin to see through the illusion of separation. You realize that the same awareness that's looking out through your eyes is the same awareness that's looking out through everyone else's eyes. The observer in you is the same observer in me. The consciousness that's aware of these words is the same consciousness that's speaking them. This isn't just a nice idea. This is a direct, immediate recognition that can happen right now. Close your eyes for a moment and notice the awareness that's present. Don't try to find it or create it. Just notice that there's something aware of the darkness behind your eyelids. There's something aware of whatever thoughts might arise. There's something aware of the sounds around you. Now here's the key insight. That awareness doesn't have any qualities. It's not big or small, old or young, male or female. It's not anxious or calm, happy or sad. It's the pure knowing presence in which all qualities appear. It's the screen on which all experiences are projected. And here's what will blow your mind. That same quality-less awareness is what everyone else is. Strip away all the personal details, all the stories, all the identifications, and what remains is the same pure awareness. The observer in you is the observer in everyone. There's only one consciousness appearing as many different perspectives. This recognition dissolves the sense of separation that creates so much suffering. When you know that you are the observer, you stop taking everything so personally. When someone criticizes you, you recognize that they're criticizing an image in their mind, not the awareness that you are. When you fail at something, you see that a story about failure is arising in consciousness, but consciousness itself remains untouched. The observer never fails. The observer never succeeds. The observer never gets hurt. The observer never gets old. The observer is the timeless, unchanging presence that witnesses all change without being changed by any of it. But here's where people get confused. They think that recognizing yourself as the observer means becoming detached or disconnected from life. They imagine it means floating around in some blissful state, untouched by human experience. This is a complete misunderstanding. Being the observer doesn't mean you stop having thoughts and emotions. It means you stop being enslaved by them. You can feel anger without being angry. You can experience sadness without being sad. You can have fearful thoughts without being afraid. The experiences arise and pass away in the space of awareness that you are, but they don't define you or control you. This is true freedom, not the freedom to get what you want, but the freedom to be okay with what is. Not the freedom to control your experience, but the freedom to be the space in which all experience unfolds. Not the freedom to be someone special, but the freedom to be the no one that you've always been. And this brings us to the most radical part of this understanding. When you recognize that you are the observer, you also recognize that there's no separate self to be found anywhere. The ego, the personality, the sense of being a separate individual, these are all just stories arising in consciousness. They're not false exactly, but they're not fundamentally true either. They're like characters in a movie, real within the context of the story, but not separate from the screen on which they appear. You are not a person having conscious experiences. You are consciousness itself, appearing as the experience of being a person. The observer and the observed are one. The awareness and the content of awareness are not two. You are the entire field of experiencing, not a separate entity within it. This understanding doesn't come from thinking about it. It comes from looking. It comes from turning attention back on itself and recognizing what's already here. It comes from seeing through the illusion of separation and recognizing the unity that was never actually broken. So right now, as these words are being heard, notice what's aware of them. Notice the presence that's witnessing these ideas. Notice that this presence has no boundaries, no center, no edges. It's not located in your head or your heart or anywhere else. It's the open space in which all locations appear. You are that open space. You are the awareness in which all experience unfolds. And the moment you recognize this, something shifts. The seeking stops. The struggle ends. The questions that have been driving you for years suddenly become irrelevant because you realize you were never actually lost. But here's what's truly extraordinary. This recognition doesn't happen once and then disappear. It's available in every moment. Right now, while you're processing these words, the observer is present. When you're stuck in traffic later, the observer is present. When you're lying in bed at night, the observer is present. It never comes and goes because it's what you are. Most people spend their lives trying to improve the observed. They want better thoughts, better emotions, better experiences. They want to fix their personality, heal their trauma, achieve their goals. And there's nothing wrong with any of that, but they're missing the deeper truth. The observer needs no improvement. The awareness that you are is already perfect, already complete, already free. This doesn't mean you stop engaging with life. It means you engage from a different place. Instead of being the character desperately trying to improve the movie, you recognize yourself as the screen that remains untouched, no matter what story plays out. The drama continues, but you're no longer lost in it. And here's where it gets really interesting. When you stop trying to fix the observed and rest as the observer, the observed often changes naturally. The anxiety that felt so solid starts to dissolve. The thoughts that seemed so important lose their grip. The emotions that felt overwhelming begin to flow freely. Not because you're trying to change them, but because you've stopped resisting them. You see, resistance is what keeps experiences stuck. When you're identified with your thoughts, you resist the thoughts you don't like. When you're identified with your emotions, you resist the emotions that feel uncomfortable. But when you recognize yourself as the observer, there's nothing to resist. Everything is just content arising in awareness, and awareness has room for everything. This is the ultimate letting go. Not letting go of things, but letting go of the illusion that you are things. Not letting go of experiences, but letting go of the belief that you are separate from experiences. Not letting go of life, but letting go of the story that you're a separate person living life. What remains is pure being, pure awareness, pure presence. And this presence is not empty or void. It's full of everything. It's the fullness that appears as emptiness, the everything that appears as nothing, the absolute that appears as the relative. You are the observer, observing itself. You are consciousness aware of itself. You are the universe experiencing itself subjectively. And this recognition is not the end of the journey. It's the beginning of a completely different way of being. When you know yourself as the observer, you move through life with a different quality. There's less friction, less resistance, less effort. Not because you're disconnected, but because you're connected to what you truly are. You're no longer swimming against the current of experience. You are the water itself. This understanding transforms everything while changing nothing. Your life looks the same from the outside, but from the inside, everything is different. You're no longer trying to escape your humanity. You're embracing it fully from the position of what you truly are. So the next time you find yourself caught in the drama of thoughts and emotions, remember this. You are not the drama. You are not the thoughts. You are not the emotions. You are the awareness in which all of this arises. You are the observer, and you are also what is observed. You are the one experiencing, and you are the experience itself. This is not something you need to achieve or attain. This is what you are right now, in this moment, always have been, and always will be. The observer and the observed, dancing together as one seamless reality. You are both the question and the answer, the seeker and the sought, the mystery and the revelation. And in recognizing this, you come home to yourself, not to a better version of yourself, but to what you've always been, beneath all the stories, all the identifications, all the seeking. You are the awareness that was never born and will never die. You are the observer that remains unchanged while everything changes. You are the space in which all of life unfolds. This is who you are. This is what you are. This is the truth that's been hiding in plain sight all along.